I'm excited today. I have Owns Ready to Love, Cornelius Bryant, the talk of the town right now. How are you doing today, Cornelius?
I'm good. I'm not talking to town though, am I?
Listen, these streets are talking, and I
Oh
know you'll be
Lord.
hearing
Oh
at least a
Lord.
little bit.
Hello. Yeah, I've definitely seen some stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, let's start from your journey from the beginning. I first want to talk about what made you want to go find love on national TV.
Man, I don't know. It was a big step, big bravery there. I think I don't know. I think for me, it was a time period when I had like got out of a previous relationship last in end of 2020. And so beginning of 2021, I really wanted to get back into church. I've been in the DC area for about 5, 6 years now, and I haven't been an actual member of a church. I've gone to church, obviously, but so this time I think I'm gonna get plugged. I think the pandemic showed me that I needed that support system. I needed more people around me that are in that environment. And so I was like, yeah, let me really get back plugged in and be a member. Actually have somebody that's actually overseeing me and looking over me. So that was a time period before getting on the show where I wanted to really cleanse myself and really get to know who I am and really get involved and find my purpose. And so once I got the opportunity and saw this opportunity come about, it was a lady that so I do model. So I've worked with this other casting lady before, and she reached out, she sent like an email out about the show. And I was like, and I honestly, I had my reservations because I didn't want to be something like Love and Hip Hop or something that was kind of crazy. And I honestly never seen the show before getting on it too. Like before I even applied for it, I never seen the show before, honestly. And so I watched the last season, which is the Houston series, and I watched a couple of their episodes. I was like, this seems like it's a good conservative Black show where, you have a lot of Black professionals that are going out on dates. I mean, you didn't really have too much drama. I think there was a little tiff they had maybe in one episode, but other than that, it was pretty just standard. People asking questions. So I said it could just be a good time where I can meet some women that I may not have met otherwise being in this area.
Yeah.
Because this area is, I call it it's a serial dating area. The reason why I call it serial dating area because, people use a lot of different apps like Tinder, Bumble, all these different apps to find people, especially during the pandemic when people are not able to get out and date.
Right.
So I was like, it's easy. And I find that this area is I look at it as a Black excellence area, because you have the government here and being the DC. You have a lot of Black people who come to this area to be professionals. And then you have a lot of HBCUs. You have Hampton, Howard, Morgan, Bowie, you got a lot of HBCUs in this area as well. So it's easy. I won't say it's easy per se to keep it, but I would say it's easy to find a Black man that's got a good job, that's got their own money, that's doing well, as well as women. So I feel like you see one Black guy, he's like, I can find somebody else, whatever, and move on to the next, because it's easy to, kind of go through the app and kind of just go through the ringers of it in a sense.
Right.
So I always look at it like, it's a serial dating area. And so it's hard to get somebody to commit because of that. If that's the case, when you look at that, you say, hey, I can date this person, you talk to them. It's easy for them to say, you tie your shoes the wrong way. I'm gonna go over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, something just, you'd be like, wait, what? I don't like the way you walk down the street. What? So
it's something about that.
You know what I mean? So that's what I came to find out, being in this area. And so I said, so it can be hard to have that commitment, especially if you get a certain age. I still want to have children. I still want a family. My mom wants her grandkids from me. She had my little brother did his part. I got to do my part now. So to have that person that's ready for marriage, I felt like this show would say, being the title Ready to Love, I was like, this will be the perfect show to possibly find somebody that I can be with. So
I think it's so important. You mentioned that you took time beforehand to really get to know yourself, to go back in church and do things that were making you whole as a person. So you can go into a relationship adding or offering value and stuff like that. I think that's a lot of people kind of forget that in between time of like, maybe I need to make sure I know who I am, what I want, and things like that. So kudos to you for doing that, because not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, that's key. That's very key. Yeah, especially like I said, going to this. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, especially going into this journey, it's good to know what conviction you have, because pretty faces, guys and women come a dime a dozen. Really, it's about what you have inside your substance.
And
So
that stuff fades too. After a while, you got to just be with the person.
yeah,
You
yeah,
got to
exactly.
like that person.
Right, that part.
So, okay. So when you were going into this, what were the things that you were saying, I want this as a trait in my partner? This is what I'm looking for.
I mean, of course, you want somebody beautiful, but the biggest thing is you want somebody, like I said, that has substance as well, and that is a believer. I mean, that's a strict. I think before I was a little more lenient on the believer part, because
Okay.
at the end of the day, it was just like, okay, like I said, I lived in Kansas for like 9 years. I wasn't around Black women,
I was going to say,
so
what is in Kansas?
Dorothy and Toto and all them. But yeah, I wasn't around a lot of Black women, so dating was definitely, it's not. You said 6 degree separation is for real there.
Yeah.
And so when I got to this area, it was like, you used to have a oasis of different, like wow, And so when I got here, I think you just kind of learn that, okay, I can try to like figure some things out here, with this person, that person, but at the same time, they're beautiful. You kind of get caught up in that, but you forget about the believer part. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's like, that's what I really need. Even though I want these things over here, this is what I really need. So when I went to the process, I said, you know what? I'm not going to compromise that anymore. I want to make sure that they are a believer. So I actually led with a couple, not all the time, not quite off the first question, but I definitely threw that in there when I did the mansion meetup. Was, what's your faith? I definitely asked those right questions. And honestly, that's what kind of cut a couple women off the list because we had different faiths.
Yeah. And that's important. A lot of the times people wait to kind of down the line to start discussing these things, but it's like, no, those like for real deal breakers, you need to address up front because nobody wants to waste time.
Exactly. And this is a very intense process and you got to ask those questions off the bat because you only have, people look at it from week to week from the show purposes. It goes over a couple of months, but we actually filmed this over, I would say between July and August. And we actually all met in July. So this is over like a week process where we actually got to ask the right questions. They're making cuts after that first couple of days.
That's what I was going to say too. You don't have time because they're like, you're not ready to love. You're not ready to love. Like,
you're right. So you're doing that down real fast. And so like within a couple of days, you're making cuts. Yeah. They say a week, but really it's like maybe 3 to 4 or 5 days, you're making cuts, know? So yeah.
All right. So you get there first day, you walk in and you're in this mixer. Do you feel like, oh, I might have bit off too much more than I can chew? I might have made a mistake. Or do you feel like, okay, I really think I'm gonna find love here?
Honestly, so when I first walked in, I actually recognized Sabrina for instance. Okay. Because she dated. So I'm in the modeling industry in this particular area. So I remember she was engaged to a fashion designer that I modeled for before. So I recognized her. I was like, I said, and me and the guy, we're not like best friends or cool or even friends at all, but we work together. So I was like, I don't know if I can get past the fact that she dated.
A little awkward.
Yeah. So, and I didn't honestly tell her that until like after the process was completely. Oh, she thought I didn't like her at all. But I said, no, that's not the case. It was because you was engaged to this guy here. So when I first saw her, I was like, it was really just her and like 2 other ladies. And I was like, okay, I can work through this, but okay, let's see who else is coming through the door.
Right.
And then as I'm walking around, I think my first conversation was with Sabrina though. And then the second conversation, I think maybe with Liva. And then actually, you know what? Actually, I saw when I was talking to Sabrina, I actually saw Camille walk in the door. By the time I was able to get over there and walk over there, Carrington had grabbed her and walked over to the other table. I was like, like this is. Because as soon as I walked, I saw her. I was like that's it right there. That's it. Thank you. This is somebody that I would talk to if I saw him on the streets or saw him in a lounge or something like that. I would like approach them. This is who it is. And so I saw her, but like I said, Carrington got to it first. And then like I said, I talked to somebody else for a second. As soon as I saw her get free, I grabbed her, and then that's when I walked over to the couch. That's the scene that everybody saw where we was kind of like laughing a little bit. We were sitting there talking at the couch. Yeah. We actually talked way longer than that, but they only showed a brief.
I was gonna say, when it comes to TV and stuff, you get to see this much and you can film all day long.
Right. And I knew, and it's so funny when we got up and I said, we got the CNC. I said something about Camille and Cornelius. I'm thinking her name starts with a C. She's like, my name starts with a K. I was like, oh Lord, okay, I messed up already.
I just messed it up already.
I messed up already. And I said, the camera's gonna show that part. They ain't gonna show the whole conversation. They're gonna show that part. But
So, of course, speaking of Camille, obviously early on, you guys developed a connection, which I think is actually really dope because, you see people come on these shows and they don't find connections at all, or they're,
Right.
voted off and they don't get a chance to build that with
Mhm.
somebody. But do you think that you were fully engaged in the process as you were going through it because you and Camille had that connection so early on? Like, if you're
Yeah.
honest, like with myself, was I fully in it or did I hold back because I knew I already had Camille?
No, so actually it's so funny. So the first day I didn't even get Camille's number. So the thing that people kind of know is, and I speak to edits too. The thing that people have to know is this is a TV show. They got to edit to make it look sensationalizing to the audience, to make some drama, make some things happening. So a lot of times when we do these interviews behind the scenes, and we do like they show like the cutaways of us doing interviews, or we're talking about a scene that they're
Right.
showing on TV.
Mhm.
A lot of times they will take certain clips that were like filmed like maybe middle to the end and pull it up to the beginning to make it more like, oh, this girl's got possessive of him. When
Mhm.
honestly, in real life, that was not the case. Like I said, I didn't even get her phone number the first day. I didn't get her
Okay.
phone number until at the end of the second day, which is the next day we had the call, like the brunch, or when Nephew Tommy
Right.
basically was like, hey, get to know these ladies. We have the women have power this week.
Okay.
And so I didn't get a number at the end of that day. Actually, I talked to, like I said, I talked to Courtney at the first day. I talked to Zadia, which they didn't show that at all. I talked to Zadia quite
I
a
was gonna
bit.
say, yeah, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
I talked to
Okay.
Zadia a long time. Those three ladies I kind of narrowed in on
Mhm.
the first day. I had a
You
brief
knew what you
conversation.
want.
Yeah, I know who I am. I know what I want.
Yeah.
It don't take me all day to figure something out.
Yeah.
I had a brief conversation with Aisha, realized we had different faiths, so that knocked her off the list. I had brief conversations with, like I said, I knew Sabrina before. She didn't know that at the time, but I knew her, seen her around before, so that kind of
Okay.
knocked her off the list as well. So I'm knocking people off the list on the first day.
Yeah.
The
Well,
next
then,
day,
especially into when you have these certain life experiences, you get to a certain age, it's pretty quick to kind of tell, like, yeah, we're
yeah.
gonna work, this not gonna work for me. Yeah.
Right. And then people say your process, and I know from an audience standpoint, they want to see you connecting with multiple people. They want to see that you
I'm
dated
not gonna
multiple
lie,
people.
I did. I can't lie.
They want to see you, especially Momeen name came up quite a bit. I've seen in the chat rooms and things like
Yep.
that. So I know people want to see you date multiple people. But the thing about it is when you're in the moment of it, you're thinking about what's best for you.
That's true.
What's good for you. I'm not thinking about it, I'm fine. I'm trying to entertain anybody at this point. I'm just thinking like, hey, this is my authentic self.
Mhm.
This is my authentic path, and how I'm choosing somebody in this process.
And you want to be
So
intentional with that. I get
yeah, I
it.
want to be attention. When I was talking on that, I'm dating with a purpose. I was being for real. I'm not just talking, just whatever. I'm really being for real. Like I'm really here to find somebody that I can really be with, not just
Mhm.
for show.
Yeah.
And so like I said, the second day I was able to talk to Tasia. I
Mhm.
talked to Tasia for like an hour the next day.
Yeah.
They didn't show that at all. They showed a little bit in
Wow.
highlight clips. They didn't show it at all. They showed me talking to Courtney. That's the only thing they showed.
Yep.
Um, from a production standpoint, they definitely, from the questionings that I got in interviews, they wanted to break that. They wanted to have that torn, me being torn between these two ladies. They wanted to create that dynamic to have me kind of
Mm.
on the, from an audience standpoint, they feel like who I'm going to go, which one I'm
Who
going
are
to
you
go,
gonna pick?
yeah, which one between these two ladies, they're two beautiful ladies, which one I'm going to go with.
Right.
So they want to create that dynamic. The real, how they showed it, they showed me going out with Courtney the week after, after the pool party. When
Right.
actuality, it was like, so we had our match and meet up, we had the mixer, then we had our double date where I had me, Camille, Courtney, and Walter.
Right.
Then my one-on-one date was actually was like that later that weekend, which was
Okay.
the day I have a Courtney at the rum spot.
Okay.
Then it was the skating ring date I had with me, her, and Courtney and Camille.
Ah, okay.
And then the pool party. But way they flipped it around, they created the rum date with me and one-on-one Courtney after the pool. So they want to create that dynamic because Corey was tied with Courtney as well. And they
Yep.
wanted to show like, oh, she's done with him. Camille then cussed him out. So let's go over to both of them now trying to see what they're gonna work out over here. You know what I mean? So it's for
Okay.
show purposes,
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So, you going through this process. You ended up getting labeled not ready to love, but Camille pretty much self-eliminates with you. Were you surprised when that happened? Well, first of all, were you expecting to be like kicked off the show?
My honest of knowing how TV works, once we got in that, the thing is the show's called Ready to Love. So you're thinking me and her made a match. We're pretty much gonna go to the end, right? You're thinking that from a real standpoint. This is what the show is about.
Okay.
From a TV production standpoint, that's not the case. It's about at the end being torn. They want you to see. They want to make it a surprise or make it like suspenseful who you're gonna pick. The audience knows this obviously is where I'm gonna go. Obviously,
right.
So there's no surprise there. So from a TV perspective, they probably was like, yeah, I think I didn't realize until we got to the retreat and the way they were questioning certain things. You understand they're trying to make it make sense to the audience. So when they have Aisha, sometimes, Aisha's not thinking, hey, let's roll them off. She's thinking, she's just reading what the producers put in front of her. Like, so they'll hold things sometimes over us sometimes and say, hey, bring up Camille and Cornelius' connection and how they can just ride off, sunset pretty much, so something like that in that regards. And so Aisha's going off of that. She's reading that. It's just like, hey, what about Cornelius? And because a lot of times it's always her that's like coming at our relationship in a way like, hey, what about y'all connection? Let's, he's not giving nobody a chance. And the thing is, I'm a gentleman. I'm not going to tell you because we had different faiths is the reason why I can't talk to you, And so I never told her that.
So you don't think you could have told Aisha that? You think she would have?
I probably could have, but in the moments of, but we never had a lot of one-on-one conversations, things like that. So I just never really got the chance to really, and never just talk to her. Honestly, at that time, I was so busy trying to make sure I'm dwindling down my list between Camille, Courtney, Zadia, and Tasia as well. Tasia was definitely somebody that I really talked to quite a bit as well. And I had a few conversations with Shiloh as well. And so I'm just more so focused on that because that in and of itself is enough for me. So I'm just kind of knocking the numbers down as I go. But when we got down to being not ready to love, I knew that in the back of my mind, I knew Camille, she wasn't going to stay. I knew that for sure. I didn't know it was going to be right then, but I knew she was going to eventually I can't do this. My guy's over here. This is where I'm going.
Right.
So
I'm ready to go.
I kind of knew that. And in the middle of the process, I think it was August by the time this happened. So this is probably 6 or 7 weeks in. I was tired. So when she said you're not ready, I said, oh, thank God, I'm ready to go home. I'm tired.
Because that could be exhausting. I know, filming all day, every day, and then you got to make time for that. So I'm sure that was a lot. Yeah. And now, of course, we got to get to the reunion, which exactly. That's how I feel. Like, where do I even start?
Right.
So, of course, you two are like, y'all got a lot of stuff coming your way at the reunion.
We definitely do. Do.
Some of the ladies, of course, are addressing your connection so early on. But in addition to that, they're also saying, Camille was aggressive. That was the word that was thrown around. Their word, not mine, because I know how that word is triggering.
It definitely is.
So, what do you feel about like how the ladies are kind of coming at you at the reunion and saying you didn't give this a chance, and then she's being aggressive, so we felt like we couldn't even talk to you.
We can't even talk to you, right? The thing is, I'm a grown man. If I want to talk to you, I'm going to talk to you. And I did like the fact that Courtney stood up and was like, look, I'm confident who I am. I shot my shot. Zadia also, like I said, that connection wasn't shown. Me and Zadia, actually, I was more torn between Camille and Zadia towards my later end of the show. Yeah, I was really torn between the two in a sense, and didn't know which way I would go. At one point, I actually, considered after the pool party happened, I was actually considering, hey, if I stay in this process, it will be Zadia. But Zadia was torn between Nye and Dante. So I was like, honestly, I actually considered self-eliminating at that point to keep it 100.
Really?
Because Camille, if it's not for Camille, then I might as well not even be here either. And so that's why I thought, that's how I thought, honestly. Okay. And so when we got down to the reunion, the castmates don't talk. Some of us kind of talk to each other, some of us don't. So they didn't know how I felt. They didn't know the reason why I'm not talking to you, no reason I'm talking to you, and the reason I'm not talking to you. They don't know that,
Okay.
So I think they felt like you never gave us a chance. And I feel like that was like a gang up moment. You got 4 women on one side me, and then Camille and Zadia, and then Walter. He just, I don't look Walter though. Walter,
He was like, I don't want that smoke. I don't want that.
I said, Walter was like, I'm just over here eating my shrimp, because that's what he said in that one clip. I'm just over here eating my shrimp. I'm like, Walter, like, I said, they should put Corey out here, because Corey would have my back. He would have said something.
I know he would have been talking. I know he would have
said something. And it's funny because I actually had a plaque underneath the table, and I actually was going to give it to Camille on stage, but it took such a big turn when they was coming at me. It was coming at me, and I had, and it's so funny. They cut the cameras. They didn't want me to talk. They didn't want to get everything I wanted to say out, because it's a TV production. They got to create this. She's aggressive and bullying me into a relationship thing that they don't want me to talk, because I'll explain that was my connection. That's what I wanted to be with from the beginning.
Yes, because there was a lot of people in the comments like, if you need help, blink twice.
Yeah, blink twice.
Just let us know.
3 circles. She's abusing him, and I'm like, yo,
yes,
it's not even like this.
But you know what? I can't even lie. This honestly is how it came across.
That's how it came across.
I won't go as far to say abusing and all that stuff, but
people go extra with it.
It definitely came across like, I got you in this headlock. Let's go.
You better not go nowhere. Man, Camilla's beautiful. Camilla ain't got to do that to nobody.
Gorgeous.
And she ain't got to do that to nobody. And she's working on her doctorate right now. Like, she can get any man she wants. I mean, it's funny. It's a lot of women telling me that, but no men telling me that. Men is on her DMs. Like, oh, leave him alone, girl. I want you. I like that type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nobody pumping into no relationship. Ain't nobody making me do anything.
Let me ask you this, because you mentioned a plaque. What was the plaque for Camille?
So I was on stage. I created this plaque because I wanted to prove to people, like, hey, this is the woman that I wanted. So I created a plaque that said, and Corey helped me out with this. I always give Corey a shout out.
Aww.
Corey helped me out on this. It said Mother of the Year Award to, had Ready to Love on it. Mother of the Year Award goes to Camille Hazel. And then I put a picture of her and her son in the inside the plaque. And I was going to give it to her on the stage, but it had turned, when they started, they're coming at us, and then it switched from me to Camille and Zadia, and I'm like, what is happening here? Because I don't know if you caught it. I actually said, wasn't that my segment?
Yep.
Like, what was going on here?
Right before it went to commercial, you like, wasn't that
my segment? Like, why are we talking about y'all? Like, how did it get turned to y'all? Like that.
I'm glad you decided against it. That was not the moment for that plaque.
Man, I obviously right now I was like, Lord.
Did you ever end up giving it to her?
I did behind the stage. I don't know if they're gonna show that coming up this Friday or not, but they saw the producer saw I was upset that they let that turn with Tanika Ray being there. I really wish Tommy was there. I feel like he would have kind of controlled that situation a little bit better. But with Tanika Ray being there, it just kind of just let it free flow, And I was upset, and so I talked to producers, and they was like, "Okay, just do it in the green room behind the stage. We'll put 2 cameras on it." They put 2 cameras on it. They did let us do it behind the stage. I gave it to her. I presented to her. She was like, "Oh, baby, thank you." It was so much going on. It was kind of like she appreciated it, but there's so much other stuff going on. It's like and so she appreciated, of course, definitely later. She actually had it in her lap in a couple of other scenes. You may catch it in the second part of the reunion. If you see her lap, she has a plaque in her lap, so you'll see it there if they show that.
That was thoughtful.
Yeah, and so I hopefully they got 2 cameras on. They say that, but at the end of the day, I know it's a TV production. I feel like it was more TV for TV purposes. Looks better to have this guy get bullied by this woman in the sense or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it looked more pleasing to the eye for that than the authentic. Okay, yes, she did cuss me out. No, that was real. She did.
Cornelius.
She did. I'm not gonna lie. She did cuss me out. However, I did come back at her later on, which they didn't show that. I did come back at her later on. After that, they didn't show that, which would have helped with the me being a pushover. It would have helped with that narrative. It would have helped, but they didn't show it. But when that's what I tell people, man, when you do TV like this, and when they at the end of the day they're making a TV show, it's not a news or documentary. They're not going to tell it how it actually happened. That's not good TV. They're going to put a spin on it. They're going to make it bigger. And I think they saw when she went off on me, they saw, we can push some buttons with Cornelius. So and then as you notice, and this is proof of that, you never saw me on a one-on-one with Camille on TV. You never saw that date. Have you? Exactly. You never saw
Now
it.
I'm trying to think, like, hold on.
Yeah, you never saw them one-on-one.
Really?
So that's the reason. But we did have a one-on-one. I gave her flowers. I even said I choose you out of this whole process. You've been the one. I did all of that. They didn't show it.
Really?
They didn't show it
Oh,
because it
wow.
keeps that narrative going, right?
Oh,
And
wow.
so they always put me on double dates. You understand? So the first date I had with Camille was me, Camille, Courtney, and Walter. Then I had the one-on-one with Courtney. Then the other double date was me, Camille, Courtney, and Corey this time.
Right.
Then they put me on. I don't think I had any more dates after that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they did put me on a date with. They supposedly was trying to put me on a date with Tasia, which that would have been really good to see. But my tire had got flat or whatever, and I couldn't make it to that particular date. They actually substituted me with Sean,
Oh,
who was the
okay.
person that was the curve ball, the person thrown in the process in the middle. They put Sean on that date. But they did have me on the date with me, Frank, Camille, and Zadia, where I was able to kind of have Zadia to the side as well on that day. They didn't show that part. So all the dates that they shown really were all double dates. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
And
That
so
is true.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying? So that's a part of TV production. They want to show Camille being jealous or, oh, look at her. She mad. He looking at her. You know what I mean? Like they want to create that dynamic.
Okay. Now we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about this clip.
Okay.
That had everybody like, wait a minute. So in this clip,
right,
we see at the table when y'all are away, pretty much they're talking and Aisha's talking and she's like, yeah, well, what if Cornelius get voted off?
Yeah. Right.
Now Camille, she messing with a tooth now.
Yeah.
But in the clip, she pretty much says she is going to F y'all up if y'all vote her man Cornelius off. Now, Camille at the reunion has said that this was a voiceover. But the other 99.9% said it was not. Cornelius, what's going on?
So what that is, and I'm gonna give you the real. It's not.
Okay,
I'm gonna give you
the
behind the TV part about that. So the thing is, in the moment of that scene, when it actually happened in real life, I didn't hear it. Even Zadia that's sitting next to Camille, she didn't hear it. Aisha, honestly, I think she might have could have heard it, but I honestly feel like it didn't show her saying you can't say you're gonna F somebody up until it showed to a different camera angle. So the mics pick up everything.
Right.
So the words "I'll F you up" come out her mouth. Yes. Did it come out to "I'll F you up" if you put my man in the bottom? No. Because that means she'd be threatening the other ladies. She was like,
okay. So in the clip, I thought when Aisha said it.
Yeah, when she said it, it goes to her mouth.
Right. And then they seem to be close together.
Yeah. They seem to be close together. So they zoomed in on her face, right?
Okay.
And like I said, I'm gonna blame it. I am gonna blame on production. Like I said,
you like production did this.
They did because it's good TV. So they hold up a camera or a phone. Sometimes they'll hold up like a phone, and they'll put the words on it,
written on it
behind us, and across the table behind me, the guy Aisha and say, "Hey, she said this in the mic." And nobody can hear it, but she, people, we are mic'd up. Everybody's mic'd up.
The mic
so they heard it. They heard it. So they said, may mention that you can't F my up. So when Camille said initially, she said it to producer. She didn't say it to anybody on the cast. She was saying, because she saw the phone too, and she saw them moving around. She was like, y'all don't play with me. Like, they didn't show all of it. They just showed her saying F you up. And then they have her saying, to my putting me at the bottom, whatever. She's talking to producers in that moment. She's not threatening anybody in the room and the table.
Okay.
The reason why, and this is the evidence of that you have to kind of really, people don't catch this stuff. When Aisha said something about, them running off in the sunset, them leaving, and then Zadia kind of steps in and says, that sounds real haters to me. Aisha then gets mad, right? She said, well, I'm not a hater. Don't hate no hater in me. If somebody says they're going to F you up and you hear it, don't you think that should get that response versus the hater comment? You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is fighting words. If I hear that for real hear that, I'll be like, you gonna laugh up. That's the response. then you can be like, okay, she really heard something because she really responded to that. And she got mad. But she got mad at the hater comment, not that comment. So And then two, this is the other part of production that they did. We're watching the episode just like everybody else as it's being filmed, as it's being shown to millions of viewers. When it came down to October 15th, when the show initially came out, when we actually taped the reunion taping, it was on November 7th. So we're just seeing half the episode. So everybody saw the episode of the pool party, and then we went to the reunion taping that Sunday, which that Friday. We had the reunion taping that Sunday, which is November 7th. They didn't show us, and this is the part of they do to get our natural reactions and all that and get us on tape looking crazy and deer in headlights. They show us all the footage while we're sitting on the couch of the rest of the episodes are going to air for the rest of the season. Because like I said, they didn't, you know what I'm saying, to get our natural reactions in that
reaction
moment.
From it.
The thing is, nobody, like I said, we argued about that hater comment the day of when the retreat. This is back in August. We argued about the hater comment from that night that it happened. They had I think you saw Phil pulling her away and talking to her, Dante and them talking to her. That was, she's like, ain't no hater in me. And she was crying about it and everything. Like, she was like, ain't no, I can tell, you know, she's talking about the hater part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She ain't saying nothing about Camille said she gonna F me up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we get done that night, and then the next day we're still talking about the hater comment. And so it's more of a fight between Zadia and Aisha even the next morning, the next day. Because I was actually looking forward to Aisha, because Aisha cooked the food. I was looking forward to her cooking breakfast too. I was like, girl, you said you gonna cook this French toast and all that, but not now. I'm looking at Zadia. You done messed, you done pissed off the cook. She was supposed to be cooking breakfast too. And so I was messing with Zadia about that.
Okay.
Between Camille and Aisha, that was no beef at all that day. It wasn't until later on when we got to the reunion that this was even a topic. You know what I mean? This was even something that was a topic of saying F you up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is the part of the TV. And no people, for people looking at it, they like, what is happening? That's why we saw it.
Cornelius.
We don't remember that. Where does this come from at? So we was definitely set up. That's why I said we were set up in that moment. And,
okay.
And all
you have to take your word for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is get Aisha. I mean, like I said, and that's my only evidence is the fact that she didn't respond the same way to the F you up as you did the hater comment. Yeah. To me, if you really look at the comments, that F you up comment, that's worse.
Yeah, that would have made you more upset.
Yeah, that would have gotten that, should have gotten that reaction that you did with the hater comment. That's the only thing I can have is the evidence to show people like, yo, like this is not what we was like. Even castmates know that it was a fight between Zadia and Aisha. We wasn't even talking about Camille. Even Camille, we was at the kitchen table. Like I said, they didn't show all of this when we was in the kitchen table. Or I'm sorry, when they pulled her to the side in that the kitchen, we was talking. I had walked by. I didn't want to get in the conversation, but they was like, Cornelius, what do you think about this? I said, well, honestly, it felt like you were trying to get us voted off the show. I told Aisha this. Okay. Because I'm not giving you, we're not giving anybody a chance. We're pretty much locked in with each other. And then even Camille came right behind me. She was like, hey, Zadia said what she said. I think she has a point of view. You have a point of view. Y'all need to sit down and talk. If there was a beef there, why would Camille say that to her? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would Aisha even hear her out? You know what I mean? So I'm saying it's so much stuff that
we don't get in the moment as the audience.
Yeah, it's so in the moment of it. Yes, you hear her saying it. Yes, you can. The people that are sitting there can say, yeah, she said it. Yeah, she said it. Of course, she said the words. Who she said it to is a totally different thing. This is part of how they grab the audience in.
Cornelius.
This is how they grab the audience in to like get the viewership and all this. So it's yeah. So it's definitely awkward. Now I gotta explain this. You didn't put us out here like this.
Because it did look a little.
That's why I'm like, wait a minute. That's why we make Camille holding each other. I'm like, wait, what? That's why we looking like.
Real confused. So of course, you guys look coupled up at the reunion. I'm assuming that you're still together. You guys' relationship status is still good.
Yeah, we're still together. We actually did an interview with Joshua Dillard last night together. Which is a Christian platform podcast that he does. So we did that last night together. And I think we were talking about possibly doing one more interview together, possibly. So yeah, we still together.
Love that. Well, that's good. At least it all worked out. And I guess, just lastly, if you could go through this process again, would you do it? And what would be one thing you would change, if anything?
I honestly would do it again.
You
I
said
would
you
do it again.
wouldn't. Okay.
Ooh, nah. And I guess if I was to do it, or if I would give any advice to anybody, you have to understand that it's a TV show. They have to create narratives. They have to create things that going to captivate the audience. And I think that's the part that and like I said, I think because the season was in DC, because it was a new city coming from, 2 seasons in Atlanta, 2 seasons in Houston, I think they had to like captivate a new audience. So it was just like they made it definitely drama filled. Anybody that watched this season, if watched previous seasons, know this season was probably the most drama season they've ever had. And I'm like, why did it have to be the season I'm on? Like, good Lord, I'm trying to be peaceful. I'm trying to be nice and
Trying
be
to
a
find my
gentleman.
wife. That's it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be here for real. And it definitely was drama filled. So I definitely want to do it again. I think the only thing I would change, in the process is honestly, I probably should have self-eliminated early when I knew that Camille was the one, instead
Okay.
of getting caught up in because I really honestly wasn't there for the cameras. I really was there to find somebody. So I could have self-eliminated. The reason why I didn't, because I actually was considering early on in the process, especially when I realized the production side of it and how they try to like throw drama in there. Because even after the pool party situation happened, production tried to get Sydney, because they know Sydney's there for like, I'm gonna throw some salt, I'm gonna shake this stuff up. The producers had asked Sydney to grab me because they see Camilla shaking up. Because if you notice, the very next day, or when they showed the next dates or whatever set of dates, they had me on a date with me, Camille. That's the other one, the double date I forgot to mention. Me, Camille, Dante, and Sydney. You notice when I walk into it, Sydney runs up to me like, ah. This is part of to make Camille jealous and to create the drama and like, oh, we done press the button, let's keep this thing going. And so once I realized this is what they're doing, I should have self-eliminated. I was actually getting ready to. My father actually talked me out of it. I actually told my mom, I said, Mom, I only really like one lady in this process. I think I'm just self-eliminate. She's like, nah, baby, don't stay in there, stay with you. Why you quit? I was like, nah, I can't do this. And so I get off the phone with my mom. My dad calls me immediately, when daddy called.
Boy.
Man, and daddy called me and said, no, I said, Mom, I said, daddy. I said, no, I can't do this. This is a lot. The production, they doing this and doing that. He said, no, you started something, finish it. You started this. Don't regret this later. You started this, finish it. This is a chapter in your life that you can write. When you write your book about your life, this is just a chapter and that you can write about in your book. And I was like, yeah, that's true. He said,
I love that.
We don't quit. We finish it. And so I was like, all right, let me just finish this thing. So that's what made me continue the process. But if it wasn't for that, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this.
Well, you know what? I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. And we look forward to more reunion and more from you, Cornelius.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, I appreciate you. And you have a good rest of your day. You tell Camille we said hey, and both of y'all stay out of trouble.
Oh, yeah, we good. We've been great since then. Yeah, it's been great.